All right, I'm speaking with Marty from the band The Lonely Ones, and you guys, you got your formation, got started in the summer of 2019, and then unbeknownst to all of us, a year later, we were under pandemic lockdown. So can you talk a little bit about, the challenges you guys faced in forming a new band, needing to get your name out there, your music out there, but essentially being told that you're not able to do so?
Yeah, it was interesting times actually. We recorded a record, shot several videos, bought a new touring vehicle, and the day we brought it home, I think it was 2 days later, the world shut down. So as scary as it was, we laughed, and I told the band, I was like, "Well, here's our first hurdle. If we can get over this, I think we're going to be okay." It was definitely bizarre, but the rest of the world was going through the same thing, so I didn't feel too much like a victim. I just felt like keep our heads down, wash our hands, keep our masks on, stay away from people, and there'll be a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's getting brighter every day. So we'll see what happens. It seems like August is when we're going to hit the road, and I mean, I think the world needs each other, and we all need people, and we need our concerts, and we need that stuff. So it feels like, the anger and the fear and all that stuff is starting to lift off of us, and it's time to get back out and play some rock and roll.
Right, exactly. Well said. And, now moving forward here, you kind of talk about the music landscape. Do you foresee like any major changes in the music landscape because of the COVID pandemic?
I think here's what I'm hoping. This is, I could be totally wrong. We'll talk a couple months from now or a year later and see if I was correct. I think there's going to be this new renaissance and explosion like the '70s, where the bowling alleys and the roller skating rinks and the music venues are full on Mondays through Sundays. I think that everybody has realized that it's time to put our phones down and get back out and be around each other again. And I'll go on a Wednesday night to the local bar to watch a polka band play just to feel the kick drum hit me in the chest again. I can't wait. I'll take nothing for granted ever again. The long drives, the using the bathroom at the Wendy's at 2 a.m. I miss all of it, and I can't wait to get back to it. And I was handed a heavy dose of a lot of things that I take for granted that I will never do again.
Right. Again, well said. I'm right there with you on that one. Now, switching gears a little bit, talking about some of the singles that you've released so far after your guys' formation. We've got like Eternal Sadness and The Lonely Ones. Even with
sounds pretty dark out there.
Well, I was gonna ask, like what were kind of your inspirations in putting those songs together?
I had gone through a pretty significant couple things in my life. A relationship that I was in for 15 years ended out of nowhere, and then the next thing, the band that I was in for 15 years ended out of nowhere, and then the pandemic hit, and it was pretty dark times. Mm-hmm. I was just sitting there like, oh man, I thought I was a nice guy. I thought I did everything right, and you get handed these cards that you sometimes can't understand, and it got pretty depressing and pretty dark. There was times where I thought, drinking myself to death sounded like a good idea. I shook that off, fortunately, and used the therapy of writing music with my friends and getting it out on a sheet of paper, and then eventually getting it to come to the speakers has always worked for me to be able to get through some tough times. But yeah, it was this moment in the end of 2018, 2019, where everything just come off the rails, and it was hard to deal with. His thoughts came into my head that I'd never had before, and it was just one of those things where it was just like, your world gets flipped upside down, and then it continues to get flipped upside down month after month, and it seems very like it was this unstoppable negative force that I didn't think I deserved or didn't know why it was happening. So yeah, those songs kind of reflect that moment in my life.
Right. Well, and it seems to me that, the songs may be, kind of darker, but they almost seem like they were therapeutic for you.
Absolutely. It's always been that way. If something's really bothered me, deep down inside, as soon as I get it out on paper and we start to see it come together in the studio, and then I can listen back to it. It's kind of almost like you put that message in a bottle and you let it go, and I feel a lot better every time. And it is absolutely therapy for me. And I hope that, not to sound cliche or lame, but I hope that it's therapy for other people. I hope it works the same way when they hear it and they can connect with it and feel like that they're not alone.
Right, and that's great too. And I noticed at the end of the music video for the Eternal Sadness, you had the National Suicide Prevention Hotline on the end of it. So I think it's great that you're using your music to get that message out there.
My girlfriend now, she works for the crisis line, and it was actually her idea, so I can't take credit for it. She was like, "This, the song is perfect." And she's like, I'll ask the higher ups if you can put the number at the end, and we did, and we thought it was a great idea. It was her idea, like I said, it was a great idea. Everyone gives me, thanks me, like, such a great idea. You're such a wonderful person, but I can't take credit for that. It's her. She deals with things like that on a daily basis, and yeah, she's a saint. Man. She's the angel at the end of the video. Right.
Well, it's good that you're nice enough to give her the credit for putting that on the end there.
I don't want to. I want to steal it and be like, that was all my idea, but can't do that.
Right. Exactly. And then moving forward, you just recently here released another single. It'll be on an upcoming EP that you guys have coming out. Change the Station. Can you talk a little bit about your inspiration for that one?
Oh, I'd absolutely love to. So, during the pandemic, I think that's what caused this huge divide in political parties on each side. I'm a very liberal person, but there are conservatives in my life that I care very much about, and the whole idea that we hate each other is ridiculous to me. And I think the pandemic caused that fear, when you take concerts away and people's outlets, and they're scared and angry. We saw it happen, in front of us. People were talking about killing each other. And I lost friends to this crazy QAnon conspiracy that is obviously within the first 5 minutes, that it's not true. It's like a Stephen King. It's like a bad Stephen King novel. But when you take people's outlets away and people's joys and fun and their weekend getaways and stuff, it's like they start to really focus on things that they fear and that they're angry about. And that's what that song's about. It's about both sides being totally ridiculous toward each other. It's like, I understand that, if you're conservative, you want a Republican in office. If you're, liberal, you want a Democrat in office. And it's going to change every 4 to 8 years, slightly one way and slightly to the other. This is not something that we should go out into the streets and talk about killing each other about. It was ridiculous. And I've been threatened by people that I've known for 20 years because, I had a different political ideology than they did. And it was just like, it didn't make any sense to me. So that was the point of the song is, you're both being crazy and I don't want anything to do with either one of you anymore.
So change the station.
Absolutely.
All right. That's awesome. And, I was reading an article as well from Music Madness magazine, and it was neat because they included a video that you guys did of a Queen cover, Flash and the Hero. And, it's just so interesting. I mean, you guys nailed it. I loved the song. I loved what you guys did with it. And, but it's just so funny because it's kind of like a complete 180 from some of the earliest stuff that you released. Can you talk a little bit about that particular cover and why you chose that one?
Absolutely. One of the reasons we chose that cover because all the other subject matter on the record was so dark. Mm-hmm. We needed some cartoonish kind of happy moment for our sanity. It was Jimmy's idea. Jimmy, the bass player, he's the man. He's heavily involved in the band and all the decisions, whether I want him to be or not. Yeah, he came up with the idea. He's like, look, all these songs about suicide and alcoholism and all these things. He's like, we need some kind of positive song. I was like, okay, well, what are you thinking? He's like, we should do a cover, and everybody's doing covers. Let's do something that stands out, that whips everybody's head around. I said, what's your thoughts? And he said, Flash, like Queen. I was like, are you out of your mind? And he talked me into it for like an hour on the phone. I was like, finally at the end, I was like, all right, let's give it a shot. I mean, you're crazy. I was like, I said, you do realize that Freddie Mercury was the singer of that band, and I am the singer of this band, and it's not the same thing.
Right.
He's like, you'll be fine, man up. So we, got into it, and it started sounding pretty good after like the first week. I was like, oh my gosh, we might be able to pull this off. And then our PR agent, Shauna O'Donnell, who's amazing, she got it all the way. Her and Sam J. Jones, who actually played Flash Gordon, got it all the way to Brian May. And Brian May gave us the thumbs up on the song. And that was one of the highlights of my career, is that, a rock guitar legend, Brian May, gave us the thumbs up and said, great job on doing this song, and it's magnificent. It's just like every day I'll wake up and if my career's over and I have to go work at Amazon, I'll be like, well, one time Brian May from Queen said that he liked our version of his song. So it's a pretty good day.
Right, yeah, that is so cool. That's very awesome. The other thing I wanted to touch on is just recently, would have been last week for St. Paddy's Day, you guys actually did a live, I guess, digital concert, if you will. Can you talk a little bit about that? What was it like doing that?
It was incredible. So 99.7 The Blitz is the big rock radio station here in Columbus, Ohio. Mm-hmm. They have so much power with their listeners. So it was a wonderful thing for them to call and say, hey, we want you guys to do something. It's like with the new band, it's like, oh my gosh, we're back in. This is our this is our doorway in. And he was telling me, we were doing some things. They changed a little bit of their format because of the pandemic. It was like we started doing, Facebook Live, kind of Howard Stern kind of thing, where you can watch it, hear it on the radio, but also watch at the same time. And I told him, it's like, no disrespect, but I have no interest in doing a acoustic performance on Zoom. It's going to sound like crap. It's going to look like crap. He said, okay, what do you suggest? It's like, our studio that we work out of, Sonic Lounge Studios in Columbus, Ohio. My best friend runs it. It's an amazing place. So we could, do it there. That way we could do a full live concert and it'll sound amazing. And then I brought a friend in by the name of Brian Jester, who's done a lot of those streaming things. And he had the camera set up so he could switch cameras and stuff. Because that was the other thing, is like, I didn't want to sit in front of a laptop and have one camera angle. This is our way in. Let's do it right.
Right.
So they were super cool. They said, yeah, let's do it. Apparently the pressure was on all the way up until the time that we got ready to play. It wasn't sounding correct because the format that we were using was mono and we're playing in stereo, so the phase is canceling each other out. So we got it figured out right at, the last second. Which is another thing that I miss. Those stressors, those last second. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Finally pull it off. I miss that very much. But it was super cool. And we decided to play a new song because we signed to Imagine Records, who are incredible. Stephen Nathan, Morgan Rose is our A&R guy from Seven Dust, so I'll talk to him twice a week. He's a super cool dude. Mm-hmm. And Bob Weingarten, we're in discussions of what's going to be the next single. And they thought one thing, we thought another, so we went ahead and played the song The Way Out on the air live to see if we got a reaction from it. Mm-hmm. To see if we were wrong. Either people say I love this song, or they're like, I tried to throw the radio in the bathtub with myself because the song was so awful. So you find out one way or the other, and it got a really good reaction. So it was just fun. It was fun to play in a room together, and it sounded great. The guy over at Sonic Lounge, Joe Veers, is an amazing engineer and amazing producer. He had it sounding like the album. So it was our first little step out into the radio world in Columbus, Ohio, and I think we knocked it out of the park.
We do have some touring coming up. Where can people go to learn more about like those tour dates, or just to learn more about your band?
So the Lonely Ones. .net is our website. We're on Facebook with the blue check mark, Instagram. It's on all our social platforms. We start the tour in August. We feel like, we pushed dates back so many times before. We just went ahead and pushed it far back enough that we wouldn't have to move them again. Mm-hmm. We feel like August is a safe time. Everyone should be, vaccinated, and this virus should be on its way out. So we feel like August was a good time for us to start hitting the road to keep our fans safe and ourselves safe. And gosh, it's so exciting to see tour dates again. See those posters with dates on them again, and ticket links and all that stuff. It's something that, man, it was like a little tear in my eye when I started seeing them come through. I was like, here it goes. Here we go.
Right. Yep. And that's awesome. That's good to see. And, if you happen to make it up Wisconsin way, central Wisconsin way, let us know. And we'd definitely be happy to have you in our studio.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Wisconsin is the Europe for rock of the United States. You guys got great radio stations and festivals, and people still care about rock and roll out there. So we will definitely be seeing you soon.